navaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
So, Lord Krishna says that there are two lifestyles. One is that of Karma Yoga and the second is Sannyasa. Okay. Now, yesterday during our discussion with Swamiji, he made a very good point that Karma Yoga, when we say Karma Yoga, we have to ask ourselves, Karma Yoga for what? Okay? Because as he says that you think nowadays the word Karma Yoga has become so common that you think that, oh, for my getting better grades I must do Karma Yoga, for my getting be successful in life, which is what? Having a proper relationship with my kids. This is the end and I need to do Karma Yoga for that. So he says Karma Yoga, these are by benefits. Karma Yoga technically, as Gita says, is not meant only for accomplishing those things. Right? So that means the Karma Yoga itself is a technical term which is used specifically in Gita, and what it means, it starts with there is a verse in 2nd chapter which says Vyavasayatmika buddhihi ekeha kuru nandana bahushakha anantascha buddhayo avyavasayina. Okay, so that means Karma Yoga, I need to know, I need to live a life of Karma Yoga for what? What is my end? Okay? If that end is not clear, everything is just karma. When I have understood that the end is moksha, okay, then what is now the purpose and what is the nature of moksha?
Freedom.
Freedom. And how is the freedom gained? The ultimate freedom that Arjuna was looking for, what did Lord Krishna say was solution to get that freedom?
To work on himself.
Put your eye in
Ishvara. Self-discovery.
Exactly. Exactly. So that means the main means for that freedom is self-discovery.
Okay.
So moksha is gained through knowing my true nature. Very important, and this is how, remember how he defined spirituality. Please understand, these are all, very important things to understand, otherwise Gita and its meaning keeps eluding you. The intention of Krishna is never understood. We give our own meanings to things. Okay? So therefore, self-discovery, his whole teaching starts with what? Ajaha nityaha shashvataha ayam atma puranaha. And this is what Pandita na anushochanti. Bring this whole understanding of Gita, don't add your own meanings. The whole purpose of life now is moksha, which is freedom, as Manjula is talking about, and the primary means For that freedom is, as Nehru says, self-discovery. This self-discovery, this Brahman is something, are we producing? No. What is Gita is saying? Right now, Atma is Brahman. We are not producing limitlessness. Limitlessness can never be produced. Right? Any action which is finite, which is done by a person who is finite, cannot produce infinity. Right? So therefore, this self-discovery is about self, which is already what it is. Aham Brahma Asmi. Present tense. Not that you do this and you will become Brahma. It's not future tense. So the whole thing is self-discovery. If it is self-discovery of Atma, which is already Brahman, then what do I need to do? What is my prime pursuit?
Understand.
Excellent.
Take out the veils.
Excellent. Okay? So that means my prime pursuit is to understand my true nature, which is already what it is. For understanding my true nature, as Anand says, I need to take out my veils of ignorance. So therefore, the whole teaching helps you to remove those veils of ignorance. Otherwise, I can just make this statement about Atma, and if I don't remove your veils of ignorance, that's why you need teacher, and that's why you need teaching. Right? So that means the teacher helps you to remove veils of ignorance so that you can understand true nature of Atma, which leads to what Nehru is saying as self-discovery, which is solution to your moksha.
Right.
Please understand all this, because this logic, if it is not understood, you are just going round and round and round in your search. So Karma Yoga, the person who is committed to Karma Yoga has understood all this. That moksha is what I am searching for. For moksha, I need to know my true nature, self-discovery through understanding my true nature, for which I need to remove my veils of ignorance. How will I remove my veils of ignorance? By listening to Shastra, what it has to say about Atma, with a teacher who is equipped with the methodology to give meaning to those words so that I can understand, not create concepts. Right? So, Karma Yogi, in order for you to be a Karma Yogi, you must know what is the end. End is moksha. And moksha is gained through removing veils of ignorance. Now, the next question is, if moksha is gained through removing veils of ignorance, which is just what? My understanding things better, what is role of karma? Because it's all knowledge based. It seems as though karma is redundant. Right? I am already Brahman, I don't know that, I go to a teacher, I come to know my true nature. The whole pursuit is what we call cognitive, understanding realities. If understanding the realities is the final pursuit, which is what Swamiji was saying as self-discovery, what is the role of karma? You have to ask yourself. The role of karma is what? In order to understand this reality about myself, I need to have what? Where do you understand realities? In your mind. If the mind is afflicted with all kinds of projections, that mind is unable to understand the right meanings of what Shastra is talking about. So you have no, if you want to have that self-discovery, what is required is you need to have maturity of the mind so that you can receive the words as they are without creating your own meanings. Right? This is what we call, how do we get a mind which can receive the words as they are without convoluting or distorting them. Because you have only one mind. You don't have different minds. This mind, when it transacts with the world, it's not able to give right meanings to things. This is why what happens? Misunderstandings occur. Because of this misunderstanding, there is suffering, there is anger, there is sorrow, there is frustration, there is anxiety. All this is because you are unable to understand things as they are. Now the same mind is used to listen to Vedanta. It will, simple things it cannot understand accurately. How can it understand these very subtle concepts accurately? It's impossible. Okay? Now, what do? The karma that you need to make your mind more mature. Karma allows you to make it mature. This is what we call, before karma was meant for what? Satisfaction of my artha and kama. Karma, I am engaged in to get more of security, more of pleasure. Now, what do I understand? Through security and pleasure, I cannot get the satisfaction that I am searching for. It is through self-discovery. But for that self-discovery, what? Self-growth is necessary. Remember Swamiji's definition?
Yeah, from growth to discovery.
Self-initiating self-growth for the sake of self-discovery. This is spiritual person. He actually told you what Karma Yoga is. Really. Okay, so that means karma not for artha and kama, but what we call for self-growth, so that I become eligible for self-discovery. Okay, so that means we say, as Surya said, in Sankalpa, we say Brahma Vidya Praptyartham, which is the self-discovery part, and Antakarna Shuddhyartham, which is which part? Self-growth part.
Internalization.
Right? You are only a karma yogi technically if you have moksha. If you want to know what Lord Krishna, you can give whatever meaning you want to give to karma yoga. If you want to understand what Lord Krishna is talking about when he is talking about karma yoga, he is talking about these two things. Okay. One is, I know self-discovery is the final goal that I have. The second thing is, I need self-growth in order to discover myself. So, for that self-growth, what do? I continue to engage in the world, continue to perform karma, but the purpose for which I perform the karma changes completely. Before, the purpose was what? When I perform karma, get more of artha and more of kama. Now, the purpose is self-growth. That is what makes any karma into a yoga.
Yes.
Right?
You attach a purpose.
Exactly. You redefine the purpose of karma in your life. Karma is for self-growth. Because when I engage in the world and when something is making me angry, before what happened? I just acted out of that anger. Now, if the purpose is self-growth, what will I do?
I'll introspect.
Exactly. I will introspect what? What is happening within me when I have anger? You understand?
Yes.
Okay. Now, karma and my engagement gives me an opportunity to see, hey, where are my distortions? And how I can change those distortions so that I act in keeping with what is rather than what? From my own creation of the world, my own coloring of the world. Okay? So this is why karma becomes critical. Karma with an attitude of yoga becomes critical for self-growth. And this is where Lord Krishna is saying, look, if you are interested in moksha, Arjuna's question was, I want freedom. He teaches him what is the nature of Atma. He also teaches him what? What is your attitude towards, when you perform an action, how important it is to take into consideration dharma. When you receive the result, how important it is to have prasada buddhi,
Correct.
which will give you cheerful mind instead of a reacting mind. It also tells you that you don't need to fight the desires that are, as Surya was explaining in meditation today, they are all given by Ishvara. You only need to navigate your life skillfully to manage them properly so they don't pose a problem. Okay? All this is part of Karma Yoga. Okay? So now a Karma Yogi is a one that who is pursuing moksha. That means he is listening to Shastra to understand the nature of Atma and at the same time engaging in the world so that through the engagement of the world, the person will have insight into one's own problems and will give that person an opportunity to undo those problems. This person is a Karma Yogi.
Yep.
Now, what Lord Krishna is saying is that another lifestyle is also possible if you want moksha. The second lifestyle is we call sannyasa. You are living in the ashram, you see all these people in oranges, they are all sannyasis. This lifestyle, Lord Krishna is saying, is another lifestyle, is a possibility. Even for a sannyasi, what is the end?
Same.
Moksha. Excellent. Same. Lokesmin dvividha nishthaha. Pura prokta mayanaka. This is nishtha. Hindu culture allows sannyasis. Sannyasi, when you see, they don't earn anything, they don't have any relationship with anything, right? Whether we understand anything or not, what is our whole attitude? You go and do namaskara. That's cultural. You don't even know who the person is, what the person is doing, you have no idea. But you give him or her benefit of doubt.
Yes, but we do.
Yes? You don't look upon that person as a dropout. In any other society, if the person is not working, if the person has no family, the people will what? He's like an outcast, totally seen as irrelevant in the society. In economic terms, he's completely a waste. Right? Why this culture? Because Lord Krishna says, for moksha, what is the first thing that you need to do? Understand the Atma. Okay? Now, what a sannyasi does is, he says that discovery of Atma is my primary goal in life. I have other duties that I have to perform. Sometimes it keeps me from doing this more in a more focused way. Okay? So therefore, the person either says that I already, through my experiences and transactions in the life, I already have certain maturity, or even as a sannyasi, I will continue to work on my maturity, but I want to reduce the roles that I play. That choice is still given. Not I have everything, I've done everything. Right? Because even in teaching conditions, you are tested. All these people come to you. You can't just let them do whatever you want, whatever they want. You can't take advantage of them. Very important. If you have not worked on yourself, all these problems will surface, even if you have given up all the roles. You will try to control them. You try to tell them what they should do. You take over their lives. Because they have come with what? The total devotion towards you. Okay? So if you are a true sannyasi, you will say that human growth, as Anna was saying, is a lifetime process. The sannyasi can say that I will continue to do my personal growth through limited situations that come to me. If it's a true sannyasi. Okay? And my primary commitment is to this self-discovery, and I'm going to spend all my time, most of my time, doing that. This is a choice which is available to you. And he says both are equally valid choices. Okay? Because you need people who are sannyasis. They have a function. They have given up all the other roles and they have devoted their life to what? Teaching. They are available. They are available for people. And everybody is struggling to have a proper perspective to life. So they become who? The role models, as Anand was saying. You need to look up to some people. You need a live example. They are supposed to serve as a role model. But if you are serving as a role model, you have to make sure that you deserve that position.
Very hard.
It's very hard.
It gives extra responsibility.
It gives
burden.
extra responsibility, and if you have not worked on your self-growth, what happens? In that position, you tend to abuse. And we see number of cases. Indian newspapers are full of those cases. That's why people at times develop they are allergic to sannyasis. And there is some reason for it, but you must understand that you can't just buy the cloth, you can not judge either one way or the other way. There is a range of sannyasis. You can't categorically say that every sannyasi is the most mature person, nor you can say every sannyasi is a fraud. There is a range. Right? So that means then you, in fact you don't even, if you're looking for a teacher, all you have to do is to pray to Ishvara. Connect me to the truth, connect me to the person who can teach me. Pray for that. You don't go out looking for sannyasis and start in the market of sannyasis choosing, like on internet, do a search. You pray. Because this particular relationship where you learn about these realities is not an ordinary relationship. Please understand, it's not an ordinary relationship. Okay? And You can have, as in fact, Lord Krishna says that if you take sannyasa prematurely, he says, sannyasastu mahabaho dukkham aptum ayogataha. Ayogataha means if you have prematurely taken sannyasa without working on your self-growth, what happens? Dukkham aptum. It will, what? It will be counterproductive. It will be counterproductive because you are denying yourself an opportunity to grow. You have abnormally aborted this whole process of self-growth. If you take sannyasa and if you realize that I still need to grow, but I'm going to reduce my role, then it's very good, right? Because you are aware of the fact that when I take sannyasa, doesn't mean that I have finished my job of self-growth.
Yeah.
Then it's fine. You can understand that I still have to grow, but given my circumstances, I want to reduce as many roles as possible. Then, even if it's not complete, you are aware about that and you are willing to work on that. Then you are still a true sannyasi. But if you think that you've finished the whole job, where a lot of things are remaining, there is a huge problem then. Right?
Sannyas is in your mind.
Sannyasa, exactly. What Lord Krishna is saying is, Karma Yoga is very safe. You are not declaring anything to the world. You are interested in self-knowledge. You pursue self-knowledge. You continue to engage in the world. The transaction with the world will keep on bringing some amount of reactions or whatever, and you keep on correcting yourself. Lovely. There is a time, he says, that achirena ni adhigacchati. If this is the process you continue, you will quickly gain the knowledge. Because you're going along with it, what can deny you knowledge? Tell me. It's not that you have to wear orange to get knowledge. Right? So therefore he says, Karma Yoga is safer. Lord Krishna seems to say that.
Right.
Both are allowed.
Right.
Both are possible. The tradition allows that. Both have values too. Please don't say that, he says, it's not giving a value judgment that always Karma Yogi is better or always Sannyasi is better. He's adding a lot of nuances. Okay? He's just saying these two lifestyles are a possibility. You choose, but be careful when you make a choice.
Choose the one that's suitable for you.
Exactly. And both the lifestyle, if you live properly, will lead to the same result. What is the same result? Self-discovery, which is moksha. There is no such thing called one is better lifestyle than the other. All depends. Ekam sankyam yogancha yaf pashyati sapashyati. Ekam sankyam cha yogancha. The person who sees that whether you are living a life of karma yoga or you are a sannyasi, you are both interested in moksha, you are both interested in self-discovery and self-growth. They are just two different lifestyles. You can't categorically say one is better than the other. It really depends, as Matra Ben says, upon so many factors. Your personal disposition, your prarabdha, right? So many factors are involved in the lifestyle that you chose. So this is what Lord Krishna is saying. Now, if you choose Karma Yoga, then we have already seen three different aspects which make it into karma into karma yoga. One is nishchayatmika buddhi, moksha is the end, karma is for antakarna shuddhi, self-growth, that is the first. Then yogaha karmasu kaushalam, which is when I perform karma, I look into all the different things of dharma. All the intricacies of dharma that we saw in the module. Samanya dharma, swadharma, all this I keep in mind when I choose my actions. When the results come, what do I have prasada buddhi. The prasada buddhi is born of my understanding that the results come from the laws of Ishvara. These are the three aspects of karma yoga. The fourth aspect of karma yoga is recognizing my interconnectedness with the universe. Right? The whole implication of where I perform the karma and how the bringing to my awareness that the universe is benevolent to me. Because we live with this kind of an implicit assumption that I have to fight or guard against the universe. In that, what is my assumption? The universe is inimical to me. You have to change and you have to say, universe is benevolent to me. Okay? Universe is benevolent to me. Why? Because all my needs, today Surya was saying, everything is given. What are you author of? This morning he was making you see what? Your body is given, your parentage is given, the country in which you are born is given, the culture in which you grow up is given. All this is given. You are not the author of any of these things and you act as though you know everything. Okay, so this is where this whole thing of Ishvara, bringing in Ishvara and seeing the benevolence in the universe is a very important step in very fundamental change in your psyche. So, one of the ways of making that psyche, every time there is one idea, when you act based on that idea, what are you doing? You are making that idea more firm. People keep on saying, oh, I understand that there is Ishvara, why should I go and put flower? This is a very common problem there is. When you put the flower, you are giving what? Expression to your understanding. Every time you give a physical expression to your understanding, you are making your understanding more firm.
It's an affirmation.
It's an affirmation. It is like when I am relating with somebody, I have all the love for this person and I said, oh, I have this love which I feel is enough.
And don't express it.
And don't express it. Absolutely. Right? If I don't express that love, what is going to be my relationship? This person with whom I'm relating, what? She'll continue to feel what? Unloved. Whole life is lived not in the mind. Please understand.
Yes.
The life is lived within forms. Whatever you feel here, in order for it to be complete, it needs to have a physical expression. Okay? So all the rituals, pujas, all that we do is giving a physical expression to my understanding of the world. That the world is benevolent to me. There are forces who are working to make me who I am. I root this idea in my psyche deeper and deeper if I use a physical expression.
Sure.
Okay? So therefore, the third aspect of this karma yoga is here, the next verse.
The flowers have a new meaning now.
This is a physical expression of your gratitude. Not a word is exchanged,
Not a word is exchanged.
but there is a physical expression. And this is beautiful. Right? Sometimes words, sometimes small things. But expression is important. Don't underestimate the importance of expression. Ishvara doesn't need your acknowledgement. He is not sitting and waiting, oh, this person hasn't done. It is for yourself.
Yes.
To
Yes.
make your psyche fulfilled.
You want the connectedness.
You want,
Ishvara
Ishvara doesn't need
Ishvara
connectedness.
doesn't give waste books. Come and sign.
Come and sign. It is you helping yourself. Right? So here, the third aspect of this whole karma yoga is what he says, Devan bhavayata nena te deva bhavayantu vaha parasparam bhavayantaha shreyat paramavapsyatha. So, you will chant after me. Devan bhavayata nena
Devan bhavayata nena
te deva bhavayantu vaha
te deva bhavayantu vaha
parasparam bhavayantaha
parasparam bhavayantaha
shreya paramavapsyatha.
shreya paramavapsyatha.
Okay, so that means the devas means all the forces are already working. The sun is shining, the waters are given, everything is given. The vegetables are given, they are all seen as different aspects of Ishvara. Because when you say Ishvara is everything, this everything again is a very vague word. You don't, unless you specify and break it down, your understanding remains all vague. So Devatas are manifestation of that Ishvara. Okay, sun, as we saw in Gayatri Mantra, Ishvara is all pervading, Bhuhu, Bhuvaha, Suvaha. But one expression of that Ishvara is what? The sun. So sun becomes what? Devata.
Devata.
This is why in Vedic culture you don't look upon sun as a hydrogen atom. You look upon it as one of the manifestations of Ishvara. It becomes Devata. And to this sun, which is one of the manifestation of Devata, what do? You acknowledge. You acknowledge the contribution and you pray. Okay? Each, in fact, this Devata is not only what? The sun, the moon, the waters. The whole Vedic culture is based on this whole idea of Devata. Right? People think that Hinduism is talking about many gods. We are not talking about many gods or anything, if you understand it correctly. Just as there are principles like sun which helps me, there are principles which decide how much money I have. The order of Ishvara decides who has what wealth, in what form, in what degree. That particular aspect of Ishvara, seeing Ishvara from the standpoint of that distribution, I call it what? Lakshmi. Everybody has some intelligence, but different people have different intelligences. It's all given. I can intervene a little bit, use my free will, right? But somebody has inclination towards mathematics, somebody towards psychology, somebody towards art. All these different orientations are given. that principle which decides what cognitive, what intellectual capacity I have, to what degree, in which area, all this is Ishvara. You give it what? That force, you give it a name, Saraswati. Okay. Then this Kali, this Kali, when you look at this Kali, is it a very pleasing form?
No.
No. And still people worship this form in India. You go to Calcutta and you go to Kali temple. What is she looking like? Somebody who is very pleasing and somebody who is very sattvic or whatever. But people go and go look at the queue in front of this. Why do you think people are praying to this Kali? Yeah. There is one reason. Why do you think, what do you mean fear?
Their own fear.
Exactly. That means the forces of nature sometimes can be inimical to you. What do you then say? Please don't be so, I'm praying to you, so don't be so inimical to me. So when you ask,
Yeah, give me grace and don't
give,
be.
yeah,
don't
give
be
your
analytical.
grace. Because in your vision, the forces of nature are not always what? Kind to you. There is always a possibility, because laws of Ishvara are working. Sometimes those results that we get, we can't handle. Either you are just afraid, or you go and you go one step, you embrace, hey, please.
Calm down.
Yeah. Right? Or other way of looking at it is, all these dark forces are all
Inside.
within us.
That is also a system.
That is also a system. And as Surya was saying, Namaha. I don't try to overlook. As long as I overlook, my tendency is to avoid. Even within me, there are so many dark forces, and what is my tendency? To avoid. As long as I keep on avoiding, what happens? It grows. When I address, I acknowledge and I address self-growth. Otherwise, you keep on finding faults with the world. There is no end to it. Acknowledge your own limitations and work on them. Because the real solution lies there. Embrace Kali. Because as long as you think Kali is something which is undesirable, it has to be avoided, it will continue to live in your heart and rule you. Devatas. It's not ordinary. The Vedic culture, if you understand the profundity of this culture, the whole vision of moksha and the vision of Ishvara is embedded in this culture. This is an amazing culture. Giving expressions so that Ishvara becomes reality. Ishvara, then, Manjula's question, we again have another problem, and we think Ishvara means only good. Carl Jung, he said, this is the most damaging psyche. Because if Ishvara is only good, then there is so much bad. And who created that bad? Some other force? Devil? Evil? Then there is a constant fight between what? Good and the evil. Okay? And and Lord is always seeming to struggle more than the devil. What kind of God is that who has to constantly, he seems to be overpowered by evil? What you need to understand is Ishvara, as long as you think Ishvara is only good, if this is your understanding, this is a wrong understanding of Ishvara.
Oh.
Ishvara's real understanding is Ishvara is Sarvajnaha Sarva Shaktiman. If you want to define what Ishvara is, it is what? Sarvajnaha Sarva Shaktiman Ishvara.
So it is all.
It is all. It
Good,
is
bad,
it-
ugly.
It is, what does Sarvajnaha mean? Okay? I have little intelligence with which I can do a few things. Okay? Ishvara is all intelligence which brings into manifestation all the laws, makes all these interconnections between the laws so that my life is governed through series of laws. In the manifestation of laws, can you give an attribute good or bad? Can you say gravity is good or bad? Gravity is just a law. One of the laws which makes what? The universe work according to what? Some harmony, predictability. It puts stars and the planets in a certain position. Even though the galaxies are moving very, very fast, the distance remains constant. And the planets don't fall. All this is performed by gravity. Okay? Now, the same gravity, if I try to move out of here, it makes me fall. Can I then say gravity is bad? Why Ishvara is so mean to me? Because I have broken my limbs and Ishvara is now very
Your fault.
Yeah. Now Ishvara, it's all your fault. You are so cruel. So that means you have to, that if you want to live a sane life or life in keeping with realities, you have to understand nature of Ishvara. Because otherwise you keep on having these problems. Okay? Ishvara is all intelligence, Sarvajnaha, which makes all these different laws. Okay? Now, the next question is that all what Ishvara is, which makes all the laws through which I am governed? That is also incomplete understanding of Ishvara. In this understanding of Ishvara, I am governed by laws, so what? I am separate from Ishvara. Now, you have to, as Surya was saying, what the laws are what? All the networks. Who are we? The jewels. Right? Now, the jewels, the human beings, planets which are ruled by the laws, are they separate from Ishvara? No. Okay. How do I know that I am not separate from Ishvara? Bring into your mind what I had said about the nature of objects, drishya. What is the nature of objects? Forms, within forms, within forms, they are all mithya. Where did we go to? When we concept. We went all the way to the concept. Now the question is, who brought about that concept? From that concept, the tiniest atoms, but the atoms organized to create cells. The cells then become what? different parts, and different parts of different living beings, there is an intelligence all the way. That intelligence is what Ishvara is. So that means Ishvara is not only the laws, it is also what? The forms.
The mithyas.
Yeah, the forms which are governed by those laws. Please understand. Otherwise, you will always think that I am governed by laws of Ishvara. What Swamiji was saying yesterday, the vision of Vedanta is all that is here is Ishvara, which includes you. So now we have to increase our understanding of what Ishvara is. Ishvara is not only all these devas, the laws which govern me, Ishvara is also the intelligence which makes every form what it is.
In spirit.
Yeah. In fact, as Surya says, right now, these billions of cells in my body are coordinating for me to do all the different functions that they are doing. There is that intelligence there. This is Ishvara. This is one of the manifestation of Ishvara. Sarvajnaha, all intelligence, which is all laws. Then it's also abiding in my body, what? Making my cells what they are and coordinating all the different cells. All the different neurons are ticking in my brain. The chemical, electric balances are all taking place so that I can think, I can emote, I can have memory, I can have sense of I. All this, there is an intelligence. That is also Ishvara. So now we have increased our understanding of what Ishvara is. From only the laws to what? The objects which are governed by the laws also are Ishvara. That means in that Indra's net, it's not only those connections which is Ishvara, the jewels themselves are Ishvara. The whole thing is nothing but Ishvara.
One entity.
Sorry?
It's one entity.
One entity. Different manifestation of one entity. You include yourself. When you include yourself in Ishvara, why Ishvara is doing this to me, that very question goes away. Because in that question, there is an assumption that I'm one thing and Ishvara is something else. Okay? So that means the only answer to this question, why Ishvara is doing this, why Ishvara is doing violence, why Ishvara is doing this, allowing violence, the only way to answer is to say that please don't think that Ishvara is one entity, he's allowing us all who are totally different to be who we are. Ishvara manifests in form of universe. The universe has possibilities. We have free will. We are also given what? The understanding, innate understanding of dharma to guide our free will. We are also given what? The possibility to go against that free will. So that means, what does Ishvara do? Ishvara is depending upon, it gives you all these possibilities, depending upon the choices that you make, what? The results come. The whole thing is one thing going on within one entity, which is Ishvara. All the forms, the possibilities that the forms have, the rules of the game, the laws which decide the rules of the game, The entire thing is happening within one entity, which is Ishvara.
Little too much for my little brain.
Yes.
It will absorb it eventually.
But let us look at your own dream. In the dream, you see mountains, you see rivers, you see different characters interact, and within that dream, who do you think? You identify with one character in the dream, right? You think that I am one character in the dream, and you interact with other characters in the dream. Okay? So that means, and those interactions give you what? Pleasure, pain, all that. Okay? Now, if somebody is to tell you, so what is your orientation when you are dreaming? Me, this little individual, and everything which I am interacting with is away from me. What is the reality of the dream?
Comes from your
The whole thing is one entity. It is you who's creating what? The mountains, the rivers, the characters within which what? You are one of the characters. Right? So now, while being fooled by the dream, how many entities you thought they were? Plenty. Now, how many entities are there if you really look at the reality of the dream?
Just one.
Just one.
Only one.
Only one. In one, all these different forms are existing and they are interacting according to laws.
They're all mithras.
And they are all mithya. Excellent. Excellent. The whole way of looking at the world is completely different. It is based on facts. It's not based on just telling you, oh, this is how you should look at it. It's nothing to do with should or should not. This is how things are. Discoveries. Okay? So Ishvara is one entity within which what? There are all these characters. All these characters are what? Governed by laws. That is also Ishvara. The interactions have possibilities. Ishvara. When we collapse possibilities, the results are given. Ishvara. Ishvara all the way. There is only one entity which is Ishvara. This is what Surya keeps saying. Bring that understanding of Ishvara in your mind. This is where one of the ways the Karma Yogi brings about the presence is to see Ishvara from all these different standpoints. Because you need to recultivate your whole psyche with the understanding of Ishvara. Before it was either you thought there was no Ishvara, or you thought it was one entity sitting somewhere there. All these are not in keeping with what Ishvara is. You need to re-understand what Ishvara is. If you are in that understanding, all the questions resolve. Right? It is that which has the knowledge which makes human body what it is. It makes animals body what it is. It makes reptiles body what it is. It makes birds body what it is. It makes planets what they are. It makes stars what they are. It makes galaxies what they are. This is Ishvara. And it also is the laws which connects me to the farthest star. What we call it is, it's Nimitta Upadana Karanam. Karanam means Ishvara is the cause. It is Nimitta means efficient cause, the maker of the world. And also the material cause of the world. Okay? In normal cases, I need to cover Ishvara because it's a very critical part, so I will do the verses much quickly because you need to understand what Ishvara is. In order to understand Vedanta, you need to understand what Ishvara is. Okay? In our normal case, there are two causes, at least minimum two causes, whenever there is a creation. When you see the steel, there are how many causes? There is the maker of this cup, and then there is a material, which is what? Steel. So the maker is different from the material. Right? So if Ishvara, who is the maker of the universe, which is in form of all the laws which governs the universe, and we are the material, right? Then there will be two things. But in the case of the whole creation, can the maker be different from material? When we talk about, if you say Ishvara created the world, I will ask you, like I created the cup, for example, right? So I already had some steel which was there and I gave it a shape and I made it into a cup.
Okay.
Now if Ishvara made the whole universe, okay, what is the material Ishvara used to create the universe?
Yes.
If there was already a material, then there is already a creation.
Yeah, what was the material of Ishvara?
Exactly. Right? What material did Ishvara use to create the world? If there was already some material, like I have steel, then already there is creation. The only logical possibility is Ishvara is not only the maker, it created the whole creation from where? From oneself. Because there is logically no other possibility. There is no other possibility logically. Okay? This is something, what difference does it make whether I understand Ishvara as efficient or the maker or the material creation of the universe? Okay? The maker can be away from the cup. Can the material be away from the cup?
No.
The material can never be away from the cup. Right? So now, if Ishvara is the material cause of the creation, where will you find Ishvara?
Material.
Everywhere.
Everywhere. Because material is there.
Yeah. Ishvara is everywhere. Now, you look at anything. You look at your body, where do you reduce to? The all-intelligence, Sarvajnaha, which makes what? Myself what they are. You look at her body, Sarvajnaha, the all-intelligence which makes her body what it is. When you look at the mountain, Sarvajnaha, the intelligence which what? Gathers the atoms in a way which makes mountain what it is. You look at the planet, Sarvajnaha, the intelligence which makes that planet what it is. You look at the laws, manifestation of Sarvajnaha, seeing what laws do I need to connect Ana with me, series of laws. Acoustics, forms, smells, all these different laws which connect me with Ana. What Matra is showing, by doing this, I'm doing some kind of a balancing with all the five elements. Incredible by doing this. connections. That is manifestation of Sarvajnaha. Whether I look at find me one thing in the universe which is not Sarvajnaha, Sarvashaktiman. Sarvajnaha means all intelligence which has Sarvashakti, the power to manifest as that given entity and be connected to the world. Find me one place in the universe where it is not a manifestation of Sarvajnaha, Sarvashaktiman. Sarvajnaha is what? The intelligence which is making that form what it is, and power, the intelligence is required and the power is required to manifest the form. The whole universe is manifestation of Sarvajnaha, Sarvashaktiman. It is not something which is a belief. Vedanta makes you see this reality which you have been missing so far. Everything is Ishvara. This is the vision of Gita and Vedanta. And the person who is doing Karma Yoga, what he wants to discover? Connectedness with that Ishvara. Devan bhavayata nena te devan bhavayantu vaha. Unless you have that connection with Ishvara, whole Vedanta is not possible, because Ishvara is reality. If you are interested in knowing the reality, you cannot bypass Ishvara. Don't come up with a pseudo Vedanta and say, I'm Brahman, and what is this Ishvara? This is a problem with Vedanta. If people don't teach Vedanta properly, this is a huge problem. Ishvara is a fact. If you are interested in reality, you have no choice but to know this very significant reality which is Ishvara, because it is all pervading. In every way it is pervading. Nothing is away from Ishvara. You can't afford not to include the presence of Ishvara in your psyche if you are interested in realities. Karma Yoga, a Karma Yogi, there is no Karma Yogi without understanding of Ishvara. Devan, Prasada, all these imply understanding of Ishvara. Okay? Just an ethical person is an ethical person. He is not a Karma Yogi. For you to be a Karma Yogi, you need to have all these different things. Ethical person is a good person, no doubt. But he is not a Karma Yogi. Karma Yogi requires you understand moksha is the end. I need self-growth to gain that moksha, which is self-discovery. The reality about the world is, all that is here is Ishvara. I realign my thinking. My so-called self-growth includes my relationship with Ishvara. Not just I want to be moral, just I want to be psychologically healthy. No. Because psychology is one of the manifestations of Ishvara. It's not only dharma, karma, everything is manifestation of Ishvara. My grieving, my helplessness, everything is manifestation of Ishvara. My capacity to get over it is a possibility which is given to me by Ishvara. my helping myself to get over it is within the possibility of Ishvara. Ishvara all the way. In order for you to call, if you want to understand what Lord Krishna is talking about as Karma Yogi, understand that relationship with Ishvara is very critical part of your self-growth. Okay, so this is what Karma Yogi, there is a connection to Ishvara. All your problems, all your helplessness, all ultimately there is only one solution, Namaha. You understand the enormity of laws within which you are operating and do what needs to be done. And ask for help when you are helpless. Prayer. Prasada buddhi, devan bhavayatanena. Give any other meaning. You are just creating a meaning. You are not looking into this book. Dharma is also manifestation of Ishvara. All the way Ishvara. Okay, so now we will look at the other part that we have already seen. One is Devan, the other one is Swadharma, that we have already seen in the afternoon sessions. So I will not much talk about it. Just I will finish in 2 minutes. Okay. So the other aspect of this Karma Yoga is identifying your Swadharma. Okay, so I will do it quickly if you don't mind, because I need to. Yeah. Shreyan Swadharmo Vigunaha Paradharmat Swanushtitat Swadharme Nitanam Shreyaha Paradharmo Bhayavaha. So we will chant Shreyan Swadharmo Vigunaha
Shreyan Swadharmo Vigunaha
Paradharmat Swanushtitat
Paradharmat Swanushtitat
Swadharme Nitanam Shreyaha
Swadharme Nitanam Shreya
Paradharmo Bhayavaha.
Paradharmo Bhayavaha.
Okay. The other aspect of identifying what is it that I am supposed to do, it is looking at Ishvara as the entire scheme of things and understanding that I am put in this given position in the entire scheme of things with this set of skills, with this skill of talents, okay, and then doing what needs to be done by me, because I am a participant in the universe. Okay, so generally either you can just focus on what I should do and or you can see yourself as part of this grand design wherein you are endowed with certain skills, and then what do? You use those skills that you are endowed with to make a contribution to what? This whole big scheme of things, Indra's net. Okay? We fall into two extremes. Either we don't do much, we highly underutilize our skills, we just do simple things in life, just barely scrape through, or we take responsibility for the whole world. Both leaves us. When you don't utilize your skills, what happens? There is certain amount of dissatisfaction. That is the universe way of saying, hey, you can do more. Okay? Or you think that I'm going to bring about this whole revolution. It's very interesting. I just as a side note, I don't want to talk too much about this, but as a side note, 5 days or 10 days ago, I received an email from Australia, okay? And the email says that we are a couple and we are vegan, so we would like to come to the ashram and study Vedanta with you, but we are very strict vegan, so will vegan food be available or not? Right? So the vegan food, you know what it is, right? Dairy free. There is no, and maybe gluten free? No. Only, okay. So only dairy free. Okay. So then I wrote back saying that, yes, I mean, there is no problem because there are people who are coming who are vegan and they've never really had any major problem, right? So then she rewrites to me and she says, does it then mean that the vegetables are not cooked in ghee? Because she wanted to make sure. The tea and coffee is served without milk, okay? And that and there is no paneer and there is no curd and there is no buttermilk. So she had all these long questions. So I replied to her by saying that the vegetables are generally cooked in oil and not in ghee, okay? And the rice has no ghee or anything. Buttermilk is there, you can decide whether you want it or not. So dal is generally, tadka is done in oil, okay? So that means that if you choose to be a vegetarian, I mean a vegan, there is no problem, okay? She rewrites to me saying that, but how are you allowing right, this buttermilk and curd and the milk to be served in the ashram, okay, when the dairy industry is known to be highly unethical? So this is where Swadharma. Stick to your job. Because I can easily tell you, you come from a country where one of the biggest industry is dairy.
No, meat industry.
Meat, and not only they use milk, they slaughter cows.
Yeah.
Right? Please, before giving me the advice of what ashram should do your own job if you really believe in it. Right? We over-assume responsibilities. This reform. We don't just stick to what is within our sphere. If you really believe in it, you can. Nobody is saying that you should not. Right? But if you start making demands on others when they have not come to you for your advice, I'm not coming to her and saying, you come to me and study Vedanta from me. She is the one who wants to study. I'm not going to be any less if she does not come to me for study. Right? The loss of perspectives. She wants to come and study with me, she ends up advising me of what? Not only how I should live, but how the ashram in which I'm conducting the retreat should behave.
How was she planning to come walk? Because in the airplanes they serve dairy products. And did you block her from your email or not?
So Pooran, no, I will forward her email to you so you can reply.
I've got a small software which rates emails. On the third it blocks. Where do I have the time to
forward it to me also? I'll give her a psychiatric reference.
See, everybody has business interest.
Okay, so this particular example shows very well Swadharma. Right? Stick to your sphere. You try to overdo, it doesn't work. It is not productive anywhere. Okay? Intelligent interventions are very, very important. Okay? So as Anand was saying yesterday, he started small. Not like I want to reform the whole India and the mental health of whole India. You just start. He started with how many people? How many people were you helping when you started?
To get the first person, it took 8 days.
To get the first person, it took 8 days. 25 years, every day he helps about 180 people.
Families.
Every day.
Families.
180 families. Where do you start? Swadharma. Start. Be realistic about what you can do. Start there. Over a period of time, it will grow. Okay? Because we either get into inertia, not doing anything. How can either he can say, now people have so much problem and 8 days I'm waiting, I'm a psychiatrist, nobody's coming to me, forget it. Right? Who cares? This country is never going to learn. Okay? Or what? I want to change the whole thing. Both are extremes. Swadharma means intelligently identify realistically what you can do and do that little step. In that doing that little step, the order will take you forward. Okay? So Swadharme, he says that Nidhanam Shreyaha Paradharmo Bhayavaha. Paradharma means imagining everything else and focusing on somebody else, and all these are just clouding our thoughts, which are without engaging proactively as to what can I do realistically. Okay, so this is what he's saying. Focus on what you can do and be realistic about what you can do. Identify. Okay, so this is another thing, because you find yourself in the scheme of things, which is Ishvara's scheme of things. Okay, that's it. And then we will see the next verses tomorrow. No, tonight. Yeah, when we. Oh, no, come on a second. Okay, sorry. There's a
The first one took so long, you thought the
okay,
second
yeah,
one.
yeah. Okay. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.